Yo, welcome to Sideline Story Podcast. This is SideQuest with B8Mill, episode 3. What's up, BA? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, brother. Enjoying Sunday evening. Man, glad to have you. Glad for you to have me on. Appreciate the invite, brother.
It's episode 3, man. We moving, bro. I
So
appreciate
that's you, man. I appreciate what you're doing here, man. I be telling you, we doing big things with the streaming and the podcast. I'm liking it. Take
appreciate that, man.
it's first things first, and then it's Swisher. No, we're going.
but it's but it's crazy though, cause like we were just chopping it up on Xbox like so many years ago. Now you know what I'm saying? Like we had so many. In theory, we got so many hours of content on the
We probably
Xbox.
should have. Sorry, we probably just should have had all of that recorded and just loaded up. Facts.
But we're gonna get into it, man. First topic on this lovely docket I got. So we got Luca, we got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Edwards, and De'Aaron Fox. I kind of kept the Western Conference, as you can see, and ironically, every one of those 4 players that I named, they are top 6 in the Western Conference right about now. And with the Timberwolves and the Thunder being number 1 and 2 now, when Bill Simmons, I think this was before the year started, when Bill Simmons said he had the Thunder potentially been like a top 4 seed in the West. Me personally, I thought he was jumping out the window because it felt like they were so young and like they still building that continuity, and like we got to see Chet. But one thing that was I felt like was the positive ends or sentiments was they already got the guy in Shea. Because Shea just averaged 30 last season, and this season it's not looking any different. So you know what I'm saying. So how do you feel about this question with like Luka, Shea, Ant-Man, and D Fox? Who you think is prime for the most success amongst the 4?
Well, for me, I gotta take. It hurts me to say it, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say it. It's your boy. It's your boy Luca.
You got Luka?
Yeah, I say out that group. I think Luca is probably is he the youngest?
I would think that would be Anthony Edwards.
Okay, yeah, Edwards is just right. Yeah, Edwards is like a year or two behind him. I think Luca just showed so much already. Luka is on his way to already being like a top 75 player already. And he's already done so much. I mean, he ain't really do a lot as far as the playoffs go so far, but nobody really on that list has. Like, so for me, I'm gonna go with Luka just because I think he got the highest skill set. I love Shea. I love Shea Gilgeous-Alexander too. He would be a second for me, but if I had to pick one person that's prime for the most success, I would say Luka, just because he's probably the most talented.
Right.
He probably still got a little bit more to go. Shea he could be at his ceiling already. Ant-Man, I don't know how good I'm gonna have him as far as shooting the ball, and D Fox might be kind of nearing his prime too. So I think Luka still got some. I say it begrudgingly, but I think Luka still got some way to go.
All right, let me switch it. I feel like this may have a little more dialogue into it. Who do you think amongst those 4 will have the most team success?
Team success. Man, that's tough. That's a tough one. Cause when you say team success, I look at like the rosters and like the history of those teams, right? So for me, the Wolves is out of it. History say they ain't gonna be my team success. So as good as Ant-Man is gonna be, I kind of got him out. Sacramento is interesting. They've been winning the last couple of years. That team kind of been put together. They got like some good prime people with D Fox and Sabonis, and they got the young kid Keegan. So they even got some room to grow and to get better. Shea Gilgeous team, they're looking prime. They're young, but as you can see now, they're winning. They're winning. Luka has the best. He probably has the best sidekick. I still don't know if it's ideal for him to be at a closer position as him. So, man, that's a tough one. So to go for like the history of success, I'm gonna go with OKC. The reason why I'm gonna go with OKC, because they haven't had success in a few years, but we are coming off that run of the KD, Kevin Durant, that whole run, where they did have a history of success. They was in the Western Conference Finals at one point with that group.
They even made the finals.
Yeah, that's right. They absolutely did. They did make the finals. They lost to LeBron. So there's some history there as far as them to be successful. And I feel like they got some of like the young pieces and the talent to kind of go together. As with the other teams, there's some potential there with all of those other teams too. Not the Timberwolves to me, but I'm gonna say they probably have the highest level of potential as far as team success goes, just because they got the history of it, got a good GM, and their roster is looking prime to kind of keep pushing for the next kind of few years.
And what I be telling people, man, Sam Presti put the Thunder in a crazy position as far as like draft picks upcoming. What they got, like 17 first round picks, something crazy like that. It's something stupid. And with all the young talent they got, that's easy to pivot off of. I've been saying that, but with Anthony Edwards, if people seen my Anthony Edwards conversation, that video, I kind of compare him to KG because it's a situation where KG is like, that's the main guy in the franchise's history. I hope that Anthony Edwards could be on that pedestal with him, and it's looking like he probably will be with talent, as far as talent goes. But I took KG's success. I took some of his teammates who came in, who left, who are the key veterans like Latrell Sprewell and Sam Cassell, and that team. They won. I think KG won 50 games 4 times with Minnesota. But the West was such a juggernaut at the time, so it was kind of hard for them to really get over the hump, especially when you got like Shaq and Kobe. So my thing is, when is Anthony Edwards, is he gonna have that type of year where like he could really contend in the Western Conference, possibly even be a title contender? And with this season, you got what's the kid, Jaden McDaniels? So I'm hearing he may be like one of the best defensive players in the league. And I'm hearing Rudy Gobert. He's not looking horrible neither. He's playing kind of going back to the Utah-esque, Rudy Gobert Defensive Player of the Year, and Karl Anthony Towns, is what it is as far as that goes. But he's still a skilled big man. But like, is Anthony Edwards gonna have that type of run? But like what you said, what history tells us is because really before these last couple of seasons, the last year they made the playoffs was that Jimmy Butler led Timberwolves, and they had like Jeff Teague, Cat, Andrew Wiggins, and those guys. But other than that, it was pretty much lottery. You know what I'm saying? So history would say, hey man, De'Aaron Fox, on the other hand, like my thing going into the year was they signed Sabonis, Keegan Murray getting better. They still got Big Monk, so it's some continuity there with those guys. And they got the reigning coach of the year, Mike Brown, who did a phenomenal job with that franchise. And the thing about it is, I feel like Shea and D Fox, I feel like this conversation is in their favor as far as like what's already in place as far as a team. With the Mavericks, only thing is our ability to acquire talent. It's always been through free agency because like drafting, we've always been so competitive that we don't really get those top draft picks like that. So I feel like I may be leaning towards Shea. You said Shea?
I went with OKC.
Yeah, I think I might be leaning. Even though I feel like Luka is the best player as far as talent goes, and he'll probably have the most accolades. But I feel like if they could really pull this thing off of OKC, they'll see a ton of success just with all the draft picks and all the young talent that they got. And it's only upside. It's all upside with that squad. It's all upside. Shea is like the OG, and he like what, 25? You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's all
close to 26, 27, but yeah, he's around that age though.
No, I mean his age. My bad, his age.
Yeah, but they got like a nice and to be honest, they was winning last year and they winning this year again. So
they almost made the playoffs last year.
Yeah, they can't. It's like they can't rebuild slow enough. They already getting with it now. Like, even as they trying to rebuild, not necessarily trying to win, they grabbing wins. They grabbing those wins anyway. So I definitely agree with Luka, Ant-Man. Sorry for you. I don't know if, to me, when like you were saying with Ant, I don't know if he's going to be as good as KG is, but I look at it as, man, if KG couldn't win in Minnesota, who can? And I don't think he can. I don't think he can push them any further than KG did back then.
And it's not even a knock. I know. Me and you come from the same places. We're not even knocking Ant. It's just that they don't have a good track record of really acquiring like top end talent, and they did have like this little window when it's like Andrew Wiggins as far as like the trade, Karl Anthony Towns, Zach LaVine, now Anthony Edwards. It's like they getting the young pieces there, but I feel like as far as like having those superstar abilities and characteristics, as far as like leadership, being good locker room guys. I'm not saying that they're not, but like history will show you the best guys in the league are always like the Kobe's, the LeBrons, the MJs, the Dirks, the Currys, and you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. I don't know if any of those guys possess any of the characteristics of the gentleman I just named. So I think it may be a situation like KG where Anthony Edwards may grow out of Minnesota because it's not the market at all, but only time will tell.
Hope he do it sooner than later, though. Don't get to mid 34 like KG did.
The next question is, what's the ceiling of Tyrese Maxey? Coming into the season, he was somebody I had high hopes for because with this James Harden situation, we didn't really know what was going to come of it because he said him and Daryl Moore had pretty much had differences that couldn't be reconciled. So they ended up trading him to the Clippers. And with that being said, I knew that Maxey's usage rate was going to have to go up, especially he was going to have to learn how to play more with the basketball in his possession. And with that being said, he's averaging 26.4 points, which is a career high. It's a 6-point jump from what it was last year. 6.8 assists, a 3-point jump in that. 5 true rebounds, which is a 3-point jump in that. 2-point field goals. He's 500. He's averaging 50% off 12 2-pointers attempted a game. He's 40% from the 3 off 8 attempts per game. And from the free throw line, he is 90% off 5 attempts per game. So with that being said, the leap is showing. Like this definitely could be like an All NBA second team type player. What you think the ceiling could be for this dude right here, man, Tyrese Maxey?
Like for his career or like this season?
Period. Ceiling for the career, I
guess. Well, first, he don't do nothing on the other end of the floor, so I gotta bring that up. He ain't much of a defender. So that's going to me. That's going when you don't got the two-way potential, it kind of limits to what you're going to be. Period, because you're just going to be one side of the ball, which is fine, but still, as far as potential goes, there's going to be a limit there. So he's not great defensively. Offensively, actually, I was just texting some of my a couple of my good friends a few days ago. They were talking about Maxey too, and I agree with them. He is. I would say Maxey is probably the fastest player in the league right now, as far as speed goes, getting up and down the court. I would say that he got that going for him. I like how Maxey gained some weight. He got a lot. Maxey got a little weight to him now that he did over the last couple of years, though. As far as his ceiling goes, I think if he can keep up the numbers that he's keeping up, I think that would be a solid, like, as far as his ceiling goes. Because what the numbers he's doing right now is pretty insane, though. It kind of definitely looks like a huge subtraction. Just they got so much addition by subtraction, just by giving up James Harden and letting Maxey do his thing. Well, we kind of seen this coming. I don't know if people remember, Maxey was like a little bit of a scorer from college when he was in Kentucky. I know he didn't go high in the draft, but he was kind of a he reminded me of Lou Williams, kind of. He remind. I don't know if his scoring if his long term should be in the starting lineup like that, as far as like being a number 2 scorer, or is he better off as a number 3 option or coming off the bench? Because of the lack of no defense, that he don't play any defense like that. I don't know if he's better suited, but right now the numbers that he's putting up, because he's young too, he's getting started minutes, so he's giving you pretty good starting production. But as far as his ceiling goes, for Maxey, I'm just gonna say sky's the limit probably for Maxey. Offensively, at least, I don't see him doing much on the defensive end. So as far as the ceiling, I think the sky's the limit. He got the tools in his bag. He got the quickness. He got the shooting touch. He can get to the rim. Like I said, his body is a little bit more filled out.
Mm.
So, he's gonna do his thing from the free throw line. Looking like the numbers you were saying, like he was close to 50, 40, 90. And so what you were saying, some of his percentages was though. But for as far as the ceiling for Maxey, I'm just gonna say the sky's the limit for the kid, man. Keep going, man. Keep going.
He actually is 50, 40, 90. I gave his 2-point field goal percentage, but his field goal percentage overall is 46% off 20 field goals a game. 40% from the free throw line, 8.895% from three. I had to say 90 round off. What's 5 points? But that's nothing. But I feel like as far as the ceiling goes, from an offensive standpoint, I feel like he could be all he could be. What's this 26 right now? I feel like at his zenith, I feel like probably 2 more points tack onto that, probably like 28 points a game. He averaging 38 minutes a game, so he's pretty much out there all the time. And this is kind of what you wanted to see, though. You know, like you said, addition by subtraction. You get James Harden out the locker room, and before we have to pay Tyrese, let's really see what he could be. And I feel like if he keep playing like this, he's going to definitely play his way into some max money. Let me ask you this: can Tyrese? Well, Luka isn't a defensive player, but we all feel like Luka could be the best player on a championship team.
True.
Would you feel the same way about Maxey or no? Because I feel like the playmaking is a little different. Luka kind of can do both. Maxey is kind of like he's okay in one aspect. He could grow, but the scoring he has it.
So you're saying could he be like could he be like the focal point of the championship team?
Okay. I feel like Joel Embiid asking out is inevitable. I just don't know when. But whenever that does take place, I feel like that'll be his team to an extent. Do you feel I don't even want to put championship expectations on him? Do you feel like he could be the number one option every night?
Every night. Also, yeah, well, I got to answer that, but also want to throw in, I don't know how, this has a change. I don't know how the Sixers got away with not paying him this year, but that's another story.
That's another story, bro, like for real.
Got away with that, man. It don't matter. When you see the extensions Halliburton was getting, his numbers was right there. So I don't know how they got away with not paying him this summer, getting his extension, but that's another issue. But as far as him being the number one, I like him being with who he's with, like an Embiid kind of player, like an Embiid or like a Giannis. I don't think he's big enough to be the top option, and he don't do nothing on the other end of the floor. So I'll say no. Just nothing to do with him, just from his size. I would say the same thing about anybody that's like 6'3", 6'2", who don't do much on the defensive end. I'm gonna say you're always gonna need somebody. You probably already gonna be a number 2 option. You look at players over history that he's probably not even as good as. Think of fucking Allen Iverson. You know, somebody who could do a lot on the offensive end, got some effort defensively, but from the size standpoint, probably not going to be big enough to carry the team. Probably same thing goes to Maxey. So I think Maxey is a great number 2 option, but not a 1.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I feel like 2 is kind of where he would be, depending on like the team structure. I definitely feel like he's the perfect complement to Embiid. I like that 1-2 combination right there for however long it's gonna last. Because like I said, I feel like Embiid asking out is inevitable, but that's another conversation for another time. I'm definitely confident in his development, though. He looks good from year 3 to year 4. He's definitely making the necessary leaps from 28 points, 17 points, 20 points, 26 points. He's showing the leap year by year. And I definitely feel just if James Harden wasn't there last year, I felt like he probably would have been closer to 26 last year than he. I feel like that jump wouldn't have been as he could have been going possibly from 24 points to 26 points. Because if James Harden were there last year, and James Harden, since he has the ball so much, his usage is going to be high. He's going to dominate the ball. So I feel like I don't want to say his growth was stunted a little bit, but it's not helping my case that he's averaging 26 points a game after Harden is leaving too. So, but we'll keep watching his story and we'll cover it as it goes along. But number 3 on the topic, I was listening to the JJ Redick podcast. He had Tim Legler and Richard Jefferson on, and they was basically saying that they wanted to give this Harden experiment 25 games to really like cast judgment on it and see what it's looking like as far as like his fit. I kind of want to take it further than that. On paper, this team looks crazy. If you just take away everything and just forget the ages if you just look at this team on paper, and you just like, man, as far as like that perimeter talent that they got, like the Russell Westbrooks, the Hardens, the Kawhis, the Paul Georges, on paper it looks good. If you even throw like a Norman Powell in there, what can the Clippers accomplish? And it's a two-part question, as you know. So the second part to that question is, if failure takes place, can Coach T. Lue take the blame? Because me and you talked about something as far as this team goes before James Harden. We talked about this maybe if it wasn't a year ago, it was close to it. And you kind of brought me to the realization that they kind of don't have a choice, especially with James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. At that time, though, I don't know if things may change. You was kind of the mindset of, we going into this new Inglewood arena. You can't go in there with like a young squad. You got to go in with some type of promise. So like they kind of don't have a choice but to pay them new money. You know, so like what they gonna do? You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, with the Russell Westbrook being acquired, James Harden being acquired, what's the ceiling for this team in your personal opinion?
Okay, well, I'll start with the first part of the question. T. Lue ain't going nowhere, and nobody gonna mention T. Lue name for nothing. I don't know, something about T. Lue, man. Like he don't seem to. I don't know. He don't seem to take much. I won't say he don't take blame. He don't really seem like he at fault for the most part. So to answer that part, and I think T. Lue is probably one of the more coveted coaches in the league. Clippers on ain't let him go nowhere. Probably get rid of half that team before he let him go. So I think T. Lue will be there as long as he want to be there, unless they make some drastic changes as far as the roster though. Second part, small caveat. I'm a Lakers fan, so us Lakers fans, we have very little positive things to say about the Clippers. So this won't be any different. Like to me, like to the Clippers, there's always going to depend on the health first and foremost, but it's always something that's also a concern. And Kawhi is probably not the same anymore. Them injuries is definitely starting to catch up to him. So like the thing that we always had with Kawhi is that he would be injured. He'd be injured for a long time. He'd be out for a long time. But when Kawhi did play, Kawhi was still looking unstoppable. This season, don't think that's the case. I see Kawhi is kind of look like he's slowing down a little bit. It could be maybe he's just pacing himself, or he might be looking at his own team like what the hell is going on, you know, with James Harden being there and everything else that's going on. So I think there's some decline from Kawhi. On the other hand, Paul George is rolling. And that's usually the case with Paul George. Paul George is usually pretty consistently until he gets hurt as well too. So far, he's been pretty healthy. Relatively, they all been pretty healthy. Right now, for them, it's been the fit with James Harden, trying to navigate what they got going on with Russell Westbrook. But I don't have any confidence in the Clippers. Not just me being a Clippers hater. They're a small team. Watched a good amount of Clippers games this season too. See Boss getting exposed quite a bit. They don't have a lot of size on that team. They got players that like Norman Powell who can hoop and Terrence Mann who can hoop, but they can barely fit in with what they got going on between the logjam of James Harden and Russell Westbrook, Kawhi, and Paul George. Also think there's going to be an issue with Russell Westbrook if they keep the team the way it's currently constructed, because he looked like he's been taking kind of the hit as far as James Harden kind of coming on board here. He was there from the end of last year playing pretty good. They made an attempt to re-sign him. They brought him back into the fold again for this season. Again, kind of playing pretty good. And kind of James Harden gets in there and you kind of see his minutes decreased and him going to the bench. And it's so early in the season, I can just see that just kind of just festering as we go along, because I don't expect them to do much as far as winning. I just don't have a lot of faith in the team. I just think time and injuries just kind of just stale me out on the Clippers and what they could have done. Because I remember like when they first had got those two, I was scared like everybody else. Like, damn, man, got the Clippers finally about to be doing something now. But as the years has gone, injuries has still been the case. Other teams in the West has gotten better. The Clippers just gotten they've just gotten older. They've gotten more talented, but they just kind of just gotten older. And injuries, chemistry, and fit is probably going to be their demise again.
Mm. Um, it's kind of hard to rebuttal that because I don't really have a problem with anything that you're saying. But as far as the Kawhi thing, I kind of want to wait to see before I say he may have fallen off. Even though like injuries do take a toll at some point, it's just how the game goes when you're consistently injured like he is, and his running mate and Paul George. It's just it catches up with you over time. It's inevitable. But I kind of want to see how Ty Lue adjusts this, or how he adjusts this as the year goes on. And another problem they're gonna have is like with the size thing, especially when we got teams like the Timberwolves, teams like the Nuggets. What you gonna do when you got to play against like the Jokic's and you got the defensive part and Rudy Gobert and the offensive part and Karl Anthony Towns and like guys like Jay McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, who I just feel like it could be tough for them. It's about matchups at the end of the day. Who's to say they can't be a bad matchup with either one of those teams? Can they beat the Nuggets right now? I don't think the Clippers could beat the Nuggets in the 7-game series, right? Probably not right now. I would have to agree as far as that goes. The T. Lue thing, I don't know. To be honest with you, we've seen some very surprising things in the NBA. It wouldn't surprise me if T. Lue took the blame for this because sometimes there's just protocol in these type of situations. Would it be fair? Would it be right? Probably not. They probably just lose to a better team in the postseason. They could be banged up, but I feel like somebody is going to take the blame. Would it be smart to fire T. Lue? No, I know. I think Steve Ballmer knows this as well because you just can't go into that new. I'm just thinking about that new arena because I feel like you need to sell something, So what are they going to be selling at that point if failure is had at that point? So I guess we'll just see. I don't really think it's a need for a deep dive. I kind of like what you did there. Number 4. This is an interesting one right here. I could see Zach LaVine where. So when the Bulls started acquiring all that talent a couple summers ago, you got the Lonzos, the DeMars, the Carusos, and I'm like, you got Vucevic. I'm like, they might be something. That might be a cool watch there. And in the preseason, it definitely looked like it. Like Lonzo Ball in the preseason, it just looked like they was just playing together. It looked like Lonzo was the glue to everything. He was making everything come together, and he gets hurt. And what I'm finna ready to say, I don't know if this is gonna be correct to some or incorrect to others, but I feel like Lonzo Ball getting hurt, it kind of hurt the trajectory of that team because he's one of the better two-way players. Lonzo is one of the best passers. He's improved his three-point shooting and perimeter defense. I'm pretty sure we all in agreement that top of the line. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that definitely hurt this team. And now it's kind of time to like, unfortunately for this franchise again, it may be time to rebuild. So I don't think nobody's safe, to be honest. I don't know if anybody's safe as far as like who can and cannot be traded. I don't think they have any untouchables on that team. So Zach LaVine, what we know, he's a professional offensive scorer. That's nothing. There's nothing to debate. As of now, he's averaging 22 points a game. That's kind of low of what has been over the past few seasons. 25, 27, 24, 25, now 22. It's taking a little dip. But call me crazy though. I can see him with y'all, man. I can see him with the Lakers. I feel like shout out to Jason Timpf of the Volume on Hoops Tonight. He kind of brought up the fact that D'Angelo Russell. I believe he said, I don't want to misquote him, but I believe he said D'Angelo Russell kind of like you may need like an athletic guard to really pair up with D'Angelo Russell to get the most out of his game. And I feel like athleticism on the perimeter will kind of be what the doctor ordered because Zach LaVine, he could spot up, shoot. He could create off the dribble. He could get to the basket. He could get to the free throw line. I feel like a lot of that playing with like guys like Russell and LeBron, AD. I feel like that'll be a great benefit to y'all, especially when we got to go up against athletic teams like the Nuggets, like the Timberwolves, like the Thunder, like the Kings. I feel like that'll help too. They have some youth. What is Zach LaVine? He's 28 now. He's still athletic as ever, but I feel like that'll definitely help y'all.
I never thought about Zach to the Lakers. You're probably the first person I've heard mention that. Sounds pretty good. I wouldn't mind having Zach LaVine. I think some of the things that you mentioned, he brings a lot of that as far as offensively. And I think he would fit on a team that kind of got some established players already, like like a LeBron, like an AD. Because I don't know how much of a number 2 option he is or number 3 option. I think he's somewhere in between the number 2 and the number 3. Won't say he's a number 1. Don't think he's very good in the clutch. I've also watched quite a pretty bit of Bulls games, and they've been terrible. And he's been a part of them being terrible. Every time I look up, they down 20 points to the Magic, who they seem to play once a week. But that's another issue. But I can see him being on a team like the Lakers that got some established vets, so he can kind of just do what he do. As far as any other like teams outside of that, like the top teams in the East kind of seem solidified. I thought about Philly briefly because Philly looked like they're still primed to make a move, but might just be a little bit too much overlap between him and Maxey, and probably give you too much of the same things. I don't know, Zach LaVine, maybe a little too young to take a bench role. You know, maybe he's a little bit too young for that. Maybe if he was like 30, 31, he'd be more accepting than maybe being like a bench player, but probably not now. He probably have to start. Him and Maxey probably terrible defensively. So I think a team, if I'd have to pick somebody, I would probably have to say a team like the Lakers, a team that's probably already got some vets in there where he's not looking to lead the show, but can have his nights where he is leading the show pretty much. So I agree with you as far as the Lakers. I don't, like I said, I don't see too many other options, other places where I think he could fit in. Because all the other top teams, that kind of seem to be set. They probably have like other needs as far as a top scorer, you know. But I like the Lakers. I like that look a little bit.
All right. So I think on our first episode with the player narratives, I believe we talked about Victor Wembanyama, his upcoming season projections. I can't necessarily remember our numbers specifically, but as of now, he's averaging 19 points a game, 2.6 blocks. True rebounding is 9.4. Free throw percentage is 82% off 4 attempts. His 2-point percentage is 51% off 11 attempts a game. 3-point percentage is 26% off almost 6 attempts a game. He ain't a bust at all. Like if skies was the limit was a person, it's Victor Wembanyama. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, in my personal opinion, and it's crazy because I was watching Bill Simmons again. He said something that I noticed that's kind of irritating. When you watch the Spurs play, they go through these stretches where they don't give Victor the ball. And when I noticed this the first game of the season when we was playing them. That was like the first game of the Dallas Mavericks Chronicles that I did. First game of the season. I noticed he was on the floor. They just were not looking for him. It was like they was giving off some energy like, oh, y'all here to see Victor, but we still here too. Like the Kelvin Johnsons, the Devin Vassell's, the Jeremy Sohans, they all look like promising young players on the rise. But it's like, bro, like when the game slows down and all this fails, when it's something that's going, I feel like he has the type of potential where he should see the ball at least. I want to say every time down the floor, bro, because he like as we see, JJ Redick pointed out, and I was wondering, he's not getting the ball on the block like the traditional big man. He may get it on the wing, he may bring it up, he might catch it at the top of the key. He could go ISO, he could post up, he could triple threat, like he could do all of that stuff. Man, he could put it on the floor, put the basketball on the floor, create. He's very aware if he needs to pass, he'll pass it. So I just don't. That's the only thing I don't understand about that. Or why did they go through these 4 or 5 minute stretches where he isn't touching the basketball at all? I don't really understand that. But as far as how he looks very good, bro. It's a lot of raw talent there, and I don't want to sit up and say he needs to add some strength. It's only year 1. He will get there at some point. You know what I'm saying? But like as of right now, he looks good, bro.
Yeah, I agree. So of course I was probably. Can't remember the last time I saw a play I was that interested in watching. So for me, I probably have seen him play, I won't say all the games, but the majority of the games. Whenever the Spurs is playing, I'm watching the Spurs games. Unless they get smoked, and I turn it off, though. So I can speak to some of the stuff that you were saying about him getting the ball because I noticed that quite a bit too. I was confused about it initially, but I'm no longer confused about it because here's what's kind of what I noticed from just watching so many of the games. Simply put, those other guys be going in like so. Um, Evan Vassell is a killer. Keldon Johnson is a killer. So
Yep.
when them dudes is not looking for him, is because they are putting in buckets, and I've seen those dudes get out there and put in work. Because that's the first thing I was saying too when I first started. I'm like, damn, they don't really they posting up Zach Collins a little bit more than they even doing. They featuring Zach Collins now, but when Zach Collins be getting the ball on the post, it'd be a bucket a couple of times, or Dan Vassell just be on the ISO. He might just wave Wemby out and do his thing. So when those guys are not looking for Wemby, it normally be because the other guys just got it cooking. And what you're also saying, Wemby, and also that helps Wemby. Is really difficult to lock in on Wemby. Watching him play, they pick their spots when he's kind of the focus of the team throughout the course of the game. Close to the game, he's more of a third quarter player. When we don't have pretty good first halves, some of that is he just starts slow. Some of it could be the other team is cooking. Some of it is they get smoked. So it's like a combination of all of those. More of a third quarter and better player that I've seen. And as far as like where they put him at, Wemby be all over the floor. I think that's by design. It also helps him out too. It's real hard to key in on him because he don't be doing one thing for too long or in one area for too long. So the way that they got him playing, first initially I didn't get it, but after watching it for a couple games, make perfect sense. He's all over the place. Sometimes he's on a block, sometimes he's running the ball up the court. Pick and roll. He's a good passer. He spots up. So he does a lot of different things to kind of keep the focus off of just mauling him down. So that's a great thing that I feel like that he's done. As far as numbers go, he's doing a lot of what we thought he would do. I thought the 3-point percentage would be a little better. Watching the games from just visibly, he don't look like a 26% 3-point shooter. It looks a little better. It looks like he's making just visually, it looks like he's making maybe in the mid 30s, but numbers are the numbers. So if that's what he's
because his mechanics are bad.
Huh?
His mechanics are not bad or anything.
No, it's just the percentage is bad.
It is the percentage, yeah. That's it.
But just over the course of watching him for multiple games, and he's taking good looks. He's pretty much taking good threes. There's so many people shooting threes in the league now. It's hard to say who's taking bad ones nowadays. So he pretty much just be shooting them at decent rate. That's the rest of the league. His just ain't going in right now. I don't know how much better he'll get, but he is like a lot of the numbers that we talked about. He's probably doing exactly kind of what we
Close.
imagined. But they still be getting dogged out. I know early in the season they was in some competitive games and they played the Phoenix tough. They got a couple of wins, but a lot of nights they just be getting torched, man. Like I think the team is. You see the youth on a nightly basis with them. If they don't get off to like a early, they're prone to getting smoked early. And even if they up, I watched them a couple nights ago. They was up against somebody, and they other team just end up coming back on them. So they're still young. They got some bit of a roster. They're doing some weird things with the roster. I think with Jeremy Sohan at the point guard. I don't know what that's all about, but whatever. But the team is cool, and Wemby is doing everything that I thought that he would be able to do. He's been super good late in games too. Wemby is really good late in games. Like for a rookie player, he's really good towards the end of the game. That's why when Wemby, he don't rebound the ball as well as I thought he would. Wemby does not rebound the ball as well as I thought he would be. And that's because he's always so far away from the rim a lot of the times. A lot of that might be by his own doing. Wemby leaking out like a guard, man. Like, dude, you're supposed to be the one getting rebound. Nah, Wemby half the time is down the court already. Like he's, so he do got some tendencies and on defense. The dude jump for everything. Like, man, you pump fake Wemby, he going in the air. He's going after everything. So he is a little green. He's a little green when it comes to certain things, though. But he's only been in the league for not even, was this what, a month or two? So this is just what I'm noticing from just playing so many games. Though. So he's right on the course. The team is real good. They don't need to do anything but just keep playing. I don't know. Maybe they take some more losses, get another top 5 pick, add another good draft pick. So, but I'm liking what I'm seeing from him and the team so far.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Zach Collins is averaging 14, I believe. Vassell and Johnson averaging 17 and 18 respectively. I like the team, man. You kind of took the words from me when you was like, they showing their youth. That's what I was going. That's what I was going to reference to. Like you can see that the youngest team in the league. You can kind of see it. Only move I would say make, man, whoever the best point guard available is at either in the draft or in free agency, like that need to be our target because this Jeremy Sohan thing at the point guard, I don't know what it. I don't really know what that's about. Popovich seeming a little too open-minded than what I'm used to, but a lot of the stuff with Wemby, the good part about it is any holes in this game can be fixed because we're not seeing nothing that's like we on red alert or it's a red flag, anything. Any and everything that's wrong with this game can be fixed. Everything. And like you said, it's only 2 months in, and I feel like a lot of this stuff is promising, bro. This is exciting to watch and be a part of as far as like the NBA community goes. Us to be able to witness this. This is very dope. I can't wait to see how far he goes. I wanted to see real quick. I think it was 30 minutes a game he was averaging, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's averaging 30.4 minutes a game. That was something I was going to try to monitor too. Games played 16. He may have played every game so far, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's about right. We're going to see how Popovich manages minutes and games as the season goes along. Because I'm pretty sure at some point it's going – a lot of players, one thing about it is, you even hear him say, it's just like going from college to the league. It's like in college, how many games do they play in college? Like 30?
Yeah, close to that many games.
Close to that 30. And see, in the NBA, it's like 82 plus the playoffs. So it's like at some point around that 40, 50 mark, I would think from a physical standpoint, you're like, dang, we still got like 30 more games to go. I'm worn, bro. I see why they get that week after the All-Star game now. I don't mind that for them too. That's dope. So last on the docket, we've talked about everything currently. Let's like take a trip in the past a little bit. I can't remember who it was, but somebody was bringing up if James Harden, if they paid him in Oklahoma City, if they paid Harden, would the Golden State dynasty still take place? And I can't. Maybe you could sway me. You have a good job of changing my opinion, and I do. That's what I do appreciate about you. Kind of made me look at things from a certain perspective. I couldn't really come up with like a definitive answer for this. I'm kind of open-minded when it comes to this. If somebody was like, nah, it probably wouldn't have happened, or yes, it would have, I'm going to listen to every argument, So how you feeling about that? We could we could take as long as we need on it. If we got to go through like the course of history, we could just, tackle it.
All right. So when you're saying they paying James Harden, that means they paying everybody else too?
See, that's the thing. I don't know who the odd man out is. Is Serge Ibaka the odd man out? Was Jeff Green? I know they traded Jeff Green for Kendrick Perkins at some point.
A bit later, yeah.
Was that after James? That was after James, right?
It was a little later.
Yeah.
Didn't Jeff Green get drafted a year after them?
Jeff Green got drafted.
He got drafted the same year as somebody. Or did he come in with James Harden or Russell?
Jeff Green was a supersonic. Let me see. Yes, he was a supersonic. This was in 2007. I think him and KD may have got drafted the same year.
Okay, so he came in with KD. So you're assuming they all together. They got everybody. They got Jeff Green. They're gonna keep everybody.
I'm assuming so.
All right, so assuming that they keep in, of course, KD's staying. Russell Westbrook gets paid. Serge is there still. Jeff Green is there, and hypothetically, they paying James Harden at the time. They're gonna pay James Harden too. So if they kept them all together, I don't know if that. I think what we would have gotten between them. I don't know. it's hard to say if they would have got a dynasty because part of the dynasty is be able to keep doing the same thing over and over again, like keep going to the finals and keep winning the championship for you to have a finals. I think OKC. I think they shake that up because maybe there's some years that the Warriors went to the finals that instead of them going to the finals, OKC is going to the finals. So maybe there's a bigger rivalry between them two. So they kind of go back and forth though. I still think the Warriors being that good, they find ways to still win championships though. I don't know if it's gonna be dynastic with OKC there. It'd have been interesting to see if OKC could have won the championship with that team had they ended up getting to the finals. But I think it would have been more of a back and forth. I think it would have been it might have been the Warriors going to the finals one year, OKC going to the finals next year. So it would have been a rivalry. So in that regard, maybe the Golden State thing is not a dynasty, but they still like a great team. They still win a couple of championships in between there. Maybe OKC gets one of those. Maybe instead of OKC, maybe the Warriors that they got 4, maybe they get 3. OKC gets one of those years. They get in there. They get high. They get on the road. They're the one that goes to the finals, and they come home with a ring. So maybe they shake them up some, but I don't think they completely dismantled them. The Warriors was primed just as much as they were going to be primed too. And still, we don't know what it would have looked like watching James Harden get better alongside of Russell Westbrook getting better because they were always getting better. Who knows if James Harden personality shakes out to be what it is if he stays in OKC. Maybe if they do pay him after a while, it's an issue regardless. Let's just say everyone continues to play the way they play. At some point, we watch Russell Westbrook play, and then it's going to look clear that maybe it should be James Harden should be the person that started, and Russell Westbrook coming off the bench. So that could have created a lot of hostility, and you could see Russell Westbrook that's when he was young and a lot more confident too. So that could have been a lot of volatility in between. I think it could have created some more volatility. The fact that we had Russell Westbrook and James Harden, and Kevin Durant have issues, I would imagine there would be some Russell Westbrook and James Harden problems as well. Because it seems like those would have been the two that's kind of would have been gunning for maybe minutes, shots. When KD is kind of more of he's more of a passive player. Only passive player that I know I can score 40, but just do it passively for whatever reason, whatever. But I do think there would have been probably some friction going on between the team. But I think they would have had a certain level of success, probably not as much as success as the Warriors had. I still think the Warriors team probably is a little better. Just from a shooting standpoint, the culture, the defense that Kerr had those guys playing. The OKC wouldn't have had no player like Draymond. I think that would have been a huge difference between the team. But I think it would have been a nice competitive run back and forth. Kind of see which one of those teams go and play LeBron in the finals, though. But maybe they do hinder the Warriors dynasty, and maybe it's not considered a dynasty. But I think the Warriors still grab the majority of the rings that they got. Maybe they lose one out because OKC is such a big threat at the time. So I think it would have been a nice back and forth between the two, but ultimately, Warriors still get their success.
Is one thing. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one thing that we forgot, and I just thought about it now. A big part of that dynasty was Kevin Durant leaving the Thunder to go to Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
If James Harden is there, I don't know if Kevin Durant then makes the transition from Oklahoma City to San Francisco. But another thing that we gotta be mindful of too is I had a point. I'm trying to remember what it was I was finna make, but I got a brain for it that fast. But him going there, I feel like that changed the trajectory of the Warriors lineup. Oh, I knew the point I was making now. when the Golden State Warriors was up 3-1 against Golden State, when it was up 3-1. What year was that? 2016, 2015, 2016, when the Thunder was up 3-1 against Golden State? What
Yeah,
year?
I can't recall it, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I remember
Because I think that was the summer that Kevin Durant chose to leave. So I think, matter of fact, that was 2016. I think if he's there, they may finish them. They may be 4-1 if James Harden is still there. Kevin Durant doesn't need to go now. Because like what you're saying, I feel like with the basketball, I feel like Harden could have probably. I would have loved to see Westbrook play like an off ball guard, like more athletic, into the rim, just catching it, and just as soon as he catch the ball, he's just going straight to the basket like that, something quick like that. Just playing off the ball, backdoor cuts, backdoor alley oops, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. I would love to see that. And the thing about what James probably would have helped in Russ's game, Russ was the point guard before, like he was that athletic point guard, him like D Rose. We was praising that. And then Curry kind of came along and made the game all about 3-point shooting, which kind of like if you see your guard can't shoot the ball now, like you devalue him a little bit now, and that becomes like a red flag. We kind of saw that it's taking place now. Every point guard in the league, you have to be able to shoot to a degree. So now it's like, does Harden, if he has the basketball in his hands, does he kind of hide that issue? Because Westbrook he never really developed into a great jump shooter. Like what you saying, like would it be an ego thing? Because you already got the money at that point, so it's like, all right, now I need my responsibility to be increased. I feel like I'm a little better with the basketball in my hands than Westbrook is. You know what I'm saying? Even though we could probably all coexist, because I feel like they were all genuinely. I felt like they were friends. For real. I really felt like they all was friends. But I do feel like Kevin Durant staying in Oklahoma City probably could have hindered Golden State a little bit, because that was the one piece in this thing that I kind of forgot about. Maybe he doesn't go to Golden State, and without that top tier small forward, that over the top scoring along with Steph Curry, I don't know what that looks like now. Because if you think about it, like at Clay's best, what is Clay? 24, 25 a game at best, probably. I mean, he's a flamethrower for sure. Like he's not Kevin Durant. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they won in 2017, 2018. Do those championships now go away? Because we saw once the Cavaliers was healthy, even though they had to overcome a 3-1 deficit, they still came back to win that series. And who's to say that they would have played again? Who's to say they would even play that year in 2016 if James Harden was still on the Thunder? They could have been 4-1, sent them home. Like, you just never know. So my answer would probably be, I don't know if that dynasty takes place. Do I think they win the championship? Probably do. But I don't know if it's now 4. I don't know. I don't know that. I can't say that.
Yeah, maybe instead of 4, maybe it's 2.
Maybe it's 2.
Maybe it's 3. Maybe KD ends up not wanting to play with Russell Westbrook regardless. Because at the time, see, the problem with that was Russell would have been an alpha, even
regardless
with James Harden and Durant. So I think one of them would have backdoored their way out of there, unless they won the ring early on in it. Which they possibly could have. They probably could have, or they could have just left based on the fact that they did get the ring, and we don't really want to play all together at some point, because especially early on in Russell Westbrook's career, he wasn't as like such a volatile player at the time. He had a pretty good mid range, and he could hit. He would hit 3-pointers at a rate to where you wouldn't like gasp when he took one. Like that didn't come till later on in his career when you see him take a 3. You're like, oh my god, why? So I think even at the time it would have been difficult because Russell Westbrook was he was legit. He was real legit. Sure. Those thoughts didn't quite kick in yet. But then I don't know James Harden. I don't know how James Harden's game turns into being James Harden if he's still on that team in that role. But it's hard telling. But it's good to have these kind of conversations. But that's the other part that you kind of had mentioned, that what happens with KD, does he end up leaving at some point, regardless? If they win early, maybe he stays. If they lose, probably whatever way they would have lost, it would have been more than likely because of the way Russell was playing. Because even in his prime, he was still volatile. Turnovers, ain't looking to let James and Durant do their thing. Kind of wanted to kind of be the show regardless, though. So I'm pretty sure that would have cost them at some point. Could have had some success with it, yeah, but I'm pretty sure. Let's say they would have an opportunity to win 2 in a row, and Russell Westbrook probably blows that. Kevin Durant don't like that. Maybe he leaves off of that. So it is hard telling though. I think it would have been tough to keep them all. I think it's tough to keep them all together when you looked at what they all became after. Specifically James Harden. I think James Harden left. James Harden left, went to Houston, was hit up 40 like the next couple nights. Like as soon as he got there, like dude was like 40, 42. And he was just looking like, damn, man, that's what they released. That's how they had you caged up over there in OKC. So it's definitely kind of tough to see how that would have worked out. But I think all that talent, everybody get a ring. Everybody get at least one of those.
I get a ring.
Yeah,
Everybody
get one.
Man, B8, I appreciate you, bro. That's all I got, man. That was
thank you for having me on again, man. I appreciate it, man.
Man, that was Sideline Story Podcast. SideQuest will be episode 3. Man, me and BA gonna keep giving y'all this dope content, man. We gotta have these conversations. I like these what if conversations though, especially that last one we did. I like that. I want to try to create some more of those for us to talk about. Yeah. I like that though, man. Everybody subscribe to the channel, Sideline Story Podcast. We out. Peace.
Until next time.